determination.
Anything else you want to say on that?
No.
Okay. The next question goes to you, Pat, and I will ask this of both of you. This is a joint question. What disturbs you the most? And you'll both get a chance to answer this, okay, about your opponent's campaign.
Well, I think Brian is a fundamentally decent guy that is battling like a tiger with me, as I am too, in this. But what does disturb me is when he would put out advertisements that would suggest that somehow I have taken a position against Social Security, that I have supported those who are trying to create the right to preserve this by, using the investment funds. When I stood here on a forum with him before and clearly stated that that wasn't the case, and yet he would pay for advertising to go out to create the perception that it is because somebody who gave a donation to the campaign supported that issue, that therefore I must too. And I think it was disingenuous because what it really does is, once again, it's like the other issues. They're not really there for the purpose of the truth. They're being designed to be put into these places to scare people, to see if we can create fear among senior citizens with the issue. And that's what was done with that advertising, and I think it was wrong.
Okay, what disturbs you the most about your opponent's campaign?
Well, I think the most disturbing thing about the campaign is Pat's position on the issues. The fact that he favors extending tax cuts for millionaires and corporations and adding trillions of dollars to the debt. The fact that he is towing the line with the NRA and refuses to take a very reasonable position to close the Florida loophole. The fact that he spoke out against the Small Business Lending Act, an act which makes credit and capital available to small businesses, and called it a bailout and addressed it with rhetoric rather than what was substantively good for the citizens of the 7th District. The fact that the leadership of his party does in fact propose the privatization of Social Security and the privatization of Medicare as the solution to those two programs staying solvent. Now, I didn't tell Pat to have a fundraiser with Eric Cantor or John Boehner or the other leaders of the Republican Party. And they can deny in election season that their solution to Social Security and Medicare is privatization. But all you have to do is read their speeches before the election came up. Read the plan that Paul Ryan, who is the star of the caucus Pat hopes to join, turning Medicare into a voucher program, privatizing Social Security. So he may not be willing to admit that that's the agenda of the Republican Party in Washington, D.C., but it is, in fact, the agenda. The agenda of a party that he hopes to put into power.
If that's the agenda, I'm not voting for it. That's the first and most important thing. Listen, Brian talked also about the Small Business Act, and this is another example where he takes an issue and he misrepresents the position that I have taken and the reason why. And we've been through this again and again and again, but he continues to sort of go back over old territory. But the Small Business Act, first and foremost, it was his representation that the reason that it's needed is because there's not enough credit to go around for small business. Now, I know that there could be arguments one side or the other. I only look at the facts of what the National Federation of Independent Business People themselves said. This is the consortium of small business, the people Brian courted to try to get their endorsement. But the bottom line is the NFIB said that only 4% of small businesses believe that access to credit was the most important issue that they were facing.
I want to move it on.
4%. Well,
yeah, I want to move it on. I want to ask you a question. What do you like about your opponent's campaign?
What do I like about it? It'll be over soon.
Is there anything admirable you find about his campaign?
Yeah, I respect Brian every morning I get up. He's a tiger. He's a fighter. I'm a fighter. And it gets your juices flowing because, to be honest, we're both fighting for the same thing, which is the right to go and represent you and bring this same kind of spirit down to Washington.
Okay, the next question goes to you. And I think it's an important one for a lot of people. There's not a lot of foreign affairs.